every cruise we go on, it never fails that we make a stop in the buffet for breakfast, and pancakes are pretty much both Kathy and I's favorite thing to get there. Now, the pancakes in the buffet are kind of sketchy sometimes. They look like they're just been there forever. They're not always warm, and who knows who has touched those pancakes. So today, I am going to recreate the pancakes that you get in the buffet, but we're going to do it a little better, I think. And we're going to do it the way I like to do it, which is a little bit different, I think, than most people's pancakes. Let's take a look at our hardware we're going to use. A non-stick pan. You could use a griddle. I like to use a pan. Yeah, it limits how many I can cook at a time, but I don't mind that. We're going to use a scale to measure our ingredients. This is a recipe that really benefits from doing it by weight as opposed to by volume. We're going to need our friend the infrared thermometer because I really want to check the temperature of the pan before we put pancake mix in there, because it'll, if it's too cold, you will never get what you want. We're going to use a whisk to mix everything up. We have some various measuring and dispensing things to put what we need in there. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to use to cook with. We're going to use flour, and we'll get our wet ingredients kind of ready. I'm going to turn my scale on and make sure that we're zeroed out using the tare function. And we're on grams, and we're going to put in as close as you can get to 175 grams of all-purpose flour. That's our first thing that's going to go in there. That was 157, was a rough cut. Oops, got a little aggressive there. Let me take some of that out. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, so that's 175, or really close. And we're going to need to put leavening agents and seasoning in there. So we're going to start with our baking powder. Now we're going to add, I'm going to tare this out again, so zero everything out. I'm going to add about 2 grams of baking powder, which should be kind of a little bit less than a teaspoon. Let's see, you got to be a little careful doing this. And if you're a little over or under, it's not going to really make a big difference. Just a smidge. Okay, so that's baking powder. Baking soda is going to be about the same. You can add a little bit more baking soda than baking powder, but not a whole lot. All right. Then we're going to add about the same amount of salt. Again, about 2 grams is what I'm looking for. I'm letting it add up. I didn't tear it off, but I'm just letting it add on my scale. There we go. Okay. So that's our dry ingredients. So put that away. I'm going to just use our whisk here and just kind of mix them together. There's one more ingredient that we're going to put in here that typically doesn't constitute a dry ingredient, but we're going to do it. It's dry ingredient for this because this is more like a Bisquick, basically, we're making. So this is sugar, so I'm going to tear this out. And I'm going to add about 7 grams of sugar. Sugar will help with browning. There we go. It'll help with the flavor, but usually, mostly it's in there to help with the browning of the pancake. All right, so our dry ingredients are mixed up. That sound you heard was my oven that I just set to 200 degrees, because as I cook these pancakes, I'm going to want to keep them warm. So that's just as I cook a batch of pancakes, I'm going to want to keep them warm. So we'll put them in here. All right, so now we're going to deal with our wet ingredients. So again, we'll add another cup, and we're going to tear out our scale that has got a lot of flour on it now. We're going to use an egg, which I don't know if I mentioned, but this has an egg in it, of course. And we're going to put some milk in here. Now, this is 1% milk. You could use whole milk. You could use fat-free milk. You could use whatever milk you want to use. The more fat that's in the pancakes, the more fatty they are. So I'm going to add 250 grams of milk. That's our liquid. All right, look at that, dead nuts. Oh, not quite. There we go. All right, 250 grams of milk. And go ahead and put our egg in here. And we're just going to drop the egg in the milk. Don't really know what it weighed, about 60 grams of the egg, but it's one egg. What are you going to do? All right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to mix the egg into the milk, which is what we're doing here. This just saves a step of trying to incorporate the egg into what will end up being kind of clunky. So I like to do this ahead of time, so it's just one mixture. All right, our scale, we are done with you. So I'll turn you off, get you out of the way, get our flour out of the way, and we can do the last part before we get going. Well, second to the last part is drop our dry into our wet. So this is kind of more the cookie method as opposed to the muffin method, which is wet into dry. All right. I didn't put it all in there because I don't want the whisk to get super clunky. Just kind of get that started. All right, the rest in there. Okay, so again, that's roughly 175 grams of dry to 250 grams of wet. I'm going to use the whisk to mix this up. I'm not going to really go after this. It's going to look like it's lumpy or just kind of clunky, and that's perfectly okay. You don't want to over stir this or be overly aggressive with this, because what will happen is you'll start to form gluten and you'll get tough pancakes, and nobody likes a tough pancake. Okay, so we're getting there. I'm just gonna check. Okay, yeah. So it's all the flour is incorporated into the mix, and you can even see already it's starting to bubble, which is what you want. All those leavening agents are starting to work. Now, one of the most important steps is right now, which is just set that down and let it sit. Let it sit for like 10 minutes. That will help everything incorporate, all the flour to get the liquefy or get the liquid into the flour, get everything nice and meeting each other. Let the leavening agents do their thing for a little while. And it'll benefit your pancakes because they'll be a little bit more poofy as opposed to just flat crepe-like things. Okay, that's it for now. So we're going to wait 10 minutes and then we'll start cooking on gas. All right, see you in 10. All right, everyone, it's been about 10 minutes. Our pancake mix is ready to go. First thing, I'm going to go ahead and start heating up the pan. We have to get the pan up to, I like to say, about 350 before I'm even going to put anything in there. And then we have to kind of monitor the temperature of the pan to make sure it doesn't get too cold or too hot. That 350, 360, 75 range is really kind of the window you want to cook these at. Maintaining that pan temperature is a really big deal. All right, so let's get going. Okay, so we're at the pan and we're going to turn our burner on to fairly high. We want to get the pan up to a temperature, again, about 350. I'll just use my little thermometer and you see we're only at like 100 and something. So we'll give that a little bit of time. The only other utensil I'm going to use is my big, huge flipper thing. And I have a plate standing by for me to offload the pancakes on. You'll notice no butter, no oil, no nothing. I don't think it's a good idea to use some lubricant on a nonstick pan. What will happen is they'll get weird coloration on the pancakes. These pancakes, if I do them correctly, they'll be perfectly brown on the bottom. They'll look like food magazine pancakes. So that's what we're kind of going after as far as how they look. And I don't think you can do it if you put butter in the bottom of the pan. It also tends to burn, and it's just, it's not required. The modern pans are so good that you really don't need it. Okay, we'll just wait this run up. Okay, we're about ready. I'm just going to moderate the temperature a little bit down. I'm just going to pour this in. How much am I putting in here? I have no idea. I'm putting in what looks like about a pancake. This will spread out, and you can give it a little thing like that to get it round. Now, this will go fairly quickly. The thing you want to look for, I'm going to just check temperature. Okay, we're at 360, so we're in the window. You're going to look for these bubbles to form, and hopefully the camera can see these. There's bubbles that will form. But you also want to look for, it's nice to have a light over top of my stove here, because I can see the reflection of the pancake. It's very shiny right now. That's because it's very liquid. What will happen is the outside edges will start to get dull. And that is my indicator of when I should flip the pancake. If I have to let it get to be maybe 30 mil, about an inch or so towards the middle, the dry part, and that tells me it's time to flip. I'm not going to even touch it until then. So right now we're still shiny. The bubbles are forming and breaking. Okay, it's starting to get dry along the outside. This is my indicator, so we're at about 1/4 of an inch. And this will go relatively quickly. So now maybe 1/2 inch. A little bit longer. Hold your patience. Okay, 3/4. Hopefully the camera will let you see how this is getting dry around the edges. The bubbles are breaking. All right, that's about 1 inch. Now, I'm going to be careful how I do this. I'm going to just work my spatula around the outside just to make sure it's loose. So, okay, so I let go and it's loose. Then we're going to try to grab this all in one piece. That's why I use a big spatula. Whoops, it's fighting me. Try that again. There you go, and we'll flip it. Okay, I missed a little bit on the center, but you'll see the color of the pancakes is that really nice tan color. And this is the first pancake. You give it a little whack to make sure it settles down. And then we'll cook the back side. Now, cooking it the way we do, this is the side that's going to show. Your underside will never look this pretty, and I don't care because I'm not going to look at the underside. So it doesn't take a whole lot longer to cook. You can go by smell, you can kind of go by feel, and it'll only take about half the time on this side. So again, just working it around, making sure it's loose. And we'll go ahead and get the pancake off. See, that is a really nice pancake. This stuff will just fall off. But that's it. I'll put that on my plate. And we'll get ready to do one more. I'm going to do one more. Don't want to have too much goo. That was dumb of me to do that over the pan. Clean that out a little bit. Okay. We'll do one more. We got to check our temperature, make sure we're good. Okay, we're 355. Still in the window. I'm going to turn it up a little bit because I don't want it to get too much lower than that. Put our batter in. Again, making a pancake. You don't want to make these huge because they become really difficult to handle. That is really about as large as I would ever want to make them. Okay, same process. We're just going to watch our bubbles. So we'll do this one more time. Okay, it's starting to get where we need to start to pay attention. The bubbles are being made and coming up to the top and breaking, but they're still kind of closing around it, which indicates it's not quite there yet.
gonna look for my dull edge, which is just now starting. So again, we want to be patient and make sure that we get this to about an inch, so it creeps in about an inch. And again, I hope the camera can see this. You definitely can see it if you're looking at it like I am. So we're about a half inch now, getting a little bit further. All right. About 3/4 of an inch now. All right, that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen this up, working our way around, just making sure it breaks away like that, okay? Then get underneath it however you want to. That was a good one. I'm gonna try to get the middle. There we go. And you can see, still really nice and brown, you know, magazine cover pancake. And that's what you want. And the reason you're getting these is because there's no butter in the pan to cause it to mix with the batter and be weird. And you're really maintaining the temperature of the pan at exactly where you want to have it, which is at 350, 360, right around in there. And again, the back side, the bottom side, does not take as long as the top. You can tell, if you've done this enough, you can tell by the smell. It'll start to smell like it's done. And that's really all we're going to do right there. And it comes right off. If you want to take a look at the underside, you can see it's not as pretty, but that doesn't matter because we're going to look at it from the top. All right. So that's 2 of our pancakes there. Let me turn the oven off. I'll cook off the rest, the stove off. I'll cook off the rest in a second here, once I finish up with you. All right, so that was our pancakes that we have in the buffet, but quite a bit better. You can take a look at them right here. Move my lights around a little bit, sorry, so you can see it a little better. All right, so serve these however you want to serve them. Maple syrup, butter on top, whatever is your thing. I'm gonna try a taste of these, but just by themselves, just so you get the pure pancake flavor. And you can see, I'm gonna use my fingers, sorry. They're nice and fluffy on the inside, nice and done, really nice color. Really good pancake taste. Yeah, these are, I mean, these are the bomb. This is the way to do pancakes, in my opinion. Way better than the buffet, and you know no little kids' fingers have touched these. So anyway, I'm Pat from Calm Sea Cooks. Thanks for coming with me. And you can definitely do this at home. This is really not difficult. So if you like recipes like this and you like channels like this, please go ahead and subscribe to Calm Sea Cooks. And check out our other channel, our cruise channel, where we go on, you can see our adventures on the sea, on Calm Sea Cruise. So again, I'm Pat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.